Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Our guest today is Phillip. So Phillip, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us where you live and what you do.
What's up, man? Dan, thanks for having me. So I live in Austin, Texas, originally from San Francisco Bay Area, and ARKA is a dual-use company. So on the commercial side, SMB, custom packaging online, the same way you can design and order a business card online. You can design and order boxes, super simple in just a few clicks. On the enterprise side, we have a commercial dual-use, commercial and defense dual-use. So we help warehouses and warfighters ship less air. So think if you buy something from Amazon and it came in a box that's too big, we'll connect with your warehouse and optimize the package sizes based on the SKUs that the warehouse is responsible for shipping so that you don't have a bunch of excess space. Then same technology is leveraged to right-size cargo for land, air, and sea vehicles for the DoD. Or I guess DOW now. I still haven't gotten used to that name change.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess I'm curious about your background. Like, how did you kind of get into the packaging space?
I've been a supply chain nerd since college. Like I studied industrial engineering at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. I worked at Boeing for a short stint. And then from there, my career kind of bifurcated. On one end, I was heavily recruited by the CIA because I speak Farsi fluently. I have an engineering degree. I was born in the US. And I don't know if this podcast is strictly audio or not, but I'm like somewhat ethnically ambiguous looking, if you can see
It's
this.
both, yeah, because video and audio, yeah.
Okay, cool. So, they like that. On the other end, I was sleeping on my buddy's couch and work at his startup. I ended up doing the latter, although I joke that maybe I did do the former and I'm just not telling anyone. And, from the days at Boeing, focusing on supply chain, their queuing system and scheduling parts from one location to another, packaging was a bottleneck. At the smaller startup, packaging was a bottleneck. I figured there's got to be an easier way to do this. So he got into Y Combinator. He's still one of my best friends. I figured maybe I can too. So I applied. I got in. I learned the ropes. Man, this was like back 2015 when not everyone on Instagram was an entrepreneur giving you insight and advice. There was like a select few, holy and sacred people who knew the tricks and trades of successfully running a business that met once a week, once every 2 weeks in Silicon Valley, and we took on their sage advice. And, the rest is history. I've been scaling the business ever since.
So in terms of packaging, who is like your typical client? Like, who do you work with?
Totally. So ICP, beauty, apparel, home goods meaning like supplements or beverages. So like Magic Mind is one of our customers on like the home goods supplement side. Beauty, think like any like cosmetics, makeup company. Apparel, we just started working with True Classic. They're like a huge men's t-shirt company. Also, Printful is on the apparel side. They're like one of the biggest companies that some people have never heard of. They do hundreds of millions a year in revenue, and they focus on-demand custom apparel and swag. But that's just like the B2C side. On the B2B side, there's massive companies that I probably shouldn't mention on this podcast that are actually just white labeled through Printful. And you're probably wearing them right now if you're listening. So that's the clue.
Yeah, I guess in terms of like, packaging, obviously there's many companies that like out there that do packaging. So how do you kind of go and differentiate yourself in the market to work with brands like Magic Mind, for example?
Totally. The space is a fairly fragmented, massive cartel of packaging providers. And again, if you're on the visual, you'll see that I'm holding up a Uline catalog. These are one of the biggest guys out there. That's the important word that we're using here. It's a catalog. Okay. So not a lot of tech enablement, lack of thoughtfulness and consideration for the entrepreneur, business owner, or just warehouse operator. And more so is just, pick up the phone and get more boxes. And look, that's all good and great. And the world has survived and will continue to survive with that process. But if you're a fast-moving third-party logistics provider juggling 20 to 50 companies at any given point, you want to understand what packaging you have on hand, what's in stock, when are we going to run out, who do we need to order for next, what are we going to start providing at our facility now that we've onboarded a new customer that maybe doesn't fit into the existing packaging suite that we have on hand. And to be able to leverage our technology to solve that is going to make something that could take hours, days, weeks, or never in some cases, because that's why you get boxes in the mail that are too big for the product. They never optimize the package. You can get done instantaneously through an integration. Now, there's also just the website. It's just a digital catalog, sure. But if you're trying to customize, you have the tools. We have a customizer. I don't know if I'm dating myself, if anyone grew up with like KidPix or even like Microsoft Paint. It's simple enough to just slap on artwork, upload a PDF or a JPEG or whatever, and check out. A designer hooks up with you within like a day or two and says, "Last look, it's going into production." I mean, that's not as prevalent as online catalogs. Write-in forms that say like, "Give me your name, first name, last name, cell phone number." Someone's probably going to call you. They won't even email you, and if they do, it's like 2 weeks later. There's just like a mismatch of expectation and capability of what's available out there, and we're filling in that gap.
For sure. And obviously, I mean, so many brands today are very Amazon heavy. So how do you kind of work with Amazon brands to make sure that, your packaging is optimized for what Amazon wants?
Sure. That's actually a really good question. We went through a certification with Amazon. Actually, they reached out to us and they got us certified through a 2-day lab course that you need to go in the Pacific Northwest to do SIOC, PFP, and FFP certification, which we have. That stands for SIOC, ships in its own container, meaning you don't need a box inside of a box. PFP, prep-free packaging, meaning you don't need to do a bunch of like fill or void fill, whatever it takes to get the product slapped with a shipping label and sent out the door. And frustration-free packaging, meaning you don't need to like tear apart a hand tag package with your teeth or like with a pair of scissors. You can actually like rip it open. So they have certain criteria that they follow that I think is a good benchmark for most e-commerce brands to follow. Everybody wants to get something that ships in some container. Everybody wants something that's prep free. If they're your vendor, like they're your 3PL, the less prep, the better, and you're not going to pay as much as a merchant. And then frustration free. Like, who listening to this doesn't want to have to not bust out the scissors or pocket knife to be able to open something up that should require a tear strip or just your bare hands?
Right. And I guess like what about packaging when it comes to people who are sourcing product internationally? I mean, I think so many people are sourcing product from China. So how do you kind of work with that? I mean, I guess I'm curious about that.
I mean, we have most of our production in North America, right? Like we
Right.
tout made in the USA, and that's super important for us. However, we also do have a facility overseas, pending actually another facility in Istanbul. You're going to see some content come out shortly that we got flown out by the Istanbul Exporters Association to partner with their supply chain due to tariffs being only 10% there versus 55% and up in China, right? It's an opportune time rather, to work with us if you want to be able to get something still inexpensively, but overseas, not China, or quickly and without tariffs domestically. But look, if you're drop shipping, we can ship packaging overseas to your facility that does the pick, pack, and ship overseas, and then you can drop ship accordingly. Or if you get product brought here, it makes sense to get your packaging here because the shipping costs and now tariffs on top of that is going to be cost prohibitive. So you need to get a partner that'll A, understand that, and B, be able to take care of you during this time.
And I guess like what are you seeing in the market? It just goes to your point earlier. It's like a lot of packaging might not be as high of quality. It could be flimsy products being broken in the mail. So what are you seeing right now in terms of ensuring that it is high quality and that people receive like their products in perfect condition?
Yeah, it's kind of like relationships. It's not necessarily that this is like a bad person or like a low quality human being. They're just not right for you, right? Like it's just a lack of compatibility. So it's really more so about compatibility versus quality. And all I mean for that is that one package that could be used to ship apparel is not going to be used to ship like a Yeti mug because it's going to clank around and get destroyed in the mail. So we have a free sampling process on our website that you can just go in and you just pay for shipping. You can get something fully customized, get it in your hands, see if this is something that you can scale your business with and continue to iterate on. I wish more companies did that. I mean, I wish everything was sampleable before you had to commit, so to speak. But anyways, with us, you're able to do that so you can see if is this compatible with my product.
And then, I mean, obviously, because you said already that there's different, types of products. So, some products need temperature control, some products need other
Sure.
protection. So how do you work with that aspect of it?
Look, like at the end of the day, we are not consultants. We're not a design firm. Okay. So like, yeah, sure. You can come to us with your packaging problems, but more so we want you to come to us with your packaging dreams so that we can make them come true. You need to come to us and know what you want. Now you can come to us and figure it out because we do have a very interesting website that is, has a large scope of offerings and you can like comprehensively understand what's available out there. Sure. And then you can make a selection, but you need to know what's best for your business. It's your business. We'll guide you and we'll help get you there, but you need to work with your 3PL, which we can name and recommend numerous to see what's the best process for the pick, pack, and ship to ensure that it gets there safely. Is it being shipped within the right zone? How are you configuring the origin point of your fulfillment? Is this going to be if the product is temperature, then of course the packaging has to be, but so does the kitting station. Like all of this is going to get done before it touches ARKA. So we just ask that you do a bit of diligence or You come to us and say, here's where I need help. Do you know somebody we can talk to? And the answer is yes.
So do you guys do design, or do your clients have like other designers when it comes to packaging design?
We have designers in the sense that you give us the artwork, we will layer it onto the die line and make sure that the vectorized artwork fits your package, and we'll sign off on it before production. But when it comes to, hey guys, I don't have a logo, then we need to get you in touch with somebody, or you need to come to the table with that figured out in advance.
Right. So you need
Bring us your
somebody
dreams. Bring us your dreams. We'll make them come true.
For sure. And I guess, like, I'm sure there are probably times where you have to push back. People might have a certain vision or certain design where it's not going to fit with the package that they need. How do you kind of handle that process?
Sampling, because sometimes you can only tell people what to do to a certain extent, and they're going to do what they want to do. And we're happy to take your money, but you might come back and be mad that you didn't take the route that we suggested. This really, I feel like the answer to most questions with respect to iteration and compatibility of the package with respect to your brand, with respect to your product, is sampling, which is why we do it for free. Like this isn't like an altruistic process that we're doing, right? We're saving us both the headache of you coming back and saying, what the hell? Like this could have been avoided. Yes, it could have. It could have been avoided. You should have gotten a sample, and you can do that with us. So get it in your hands. You'll make the right choices from there now, because you will know better. And you should have known better if you had not gotten a sample.
For sure. And I guess, like, what are some of the biggest trends that you're seeing right now in the packaging space?
Honestly, sustainability has waned, to be completely honest. Everybody is fighting for their lives. Let's be real for a second. Everyone's fighting for their lives for dollars and cents. They want the most cost-efficient solution possible. People are tired of getting greenwashed. And I'm not saying that we're now selling like dolphin leather lined boxes. I'm just saying, guess what? Boxes were the answer all along, because it's a simple material that doesn't have some sexy, catchy, branding behind it, but it's recyclable, guys. Like, you can actually toss it in the blue bin and not be guilty about it. And your merchants cannot be guilty about it as well. Whereas there was a time where everyone wanted compostable, biodegradable packaging, which, again, happy to take your money. We can supply it. But are you confident that the person that's buying from you is going to dispose of that responsibly? Because it's not going to go in the trash, and it's not going to go in the recycling bin if you want to dispose of responsibly. There's an alternative route it needs to take, and it's going to take work on their end. Or did you just want the pat on the back and the badge of sustainability because you ordered eco-friendly, quote unquote, packaging? You could have just done it with boxes. So let's rock and roll with boxes. Let's rock and roll with PCR, post-consumer recycled content mailers that belong in landfill. And that's exactly where it's supposed to go.
And obviously, every company is looking for the best use case for AI. So do you guys, use it internally, and what does that look like for you?
Oh my gosh, internally, of course, but also being able to determine, back to the enterprise solution on the commercial side and the defense side, it's with AI that we're able to make these right size decisions, track trends, forecasts. You're about to run out of packaging. A lot of that can be done with the algorithms that we built. A lot of that is done with math, but AI creates this superpower layer that enables it to think and give you a solution for whatever type of trends your facility is forecasting. But I mean, internally, it's helped us like massively. I could think of a million examples of anybody in any profession that could be using it, whether it's trying to calculate void fill inside of a 3D space, or just polishing an email because you're frustrated and you don't want to come off angry and you need it to sound a bit more professional. I do that all the time.
100%. So if you could go back in time before you started this company, what is the one biggest piece of advice that you wish you knew?
Wait longer and start it once AI is available, because your life has become so much easier. No, slow down, honestly, in some cases. I know some people say speed up, and speed is everything. Like, commit to your decisions, because a lack of decision is worse. Like, whatever. This is a very cliche phrase that everyone listening has heard before, but like, indecision is worse than a wrong decision. But the slowdown is more so, don't try to do too many things at once. Focus, right? I think as young entrepreneurs, we want to do everything everywhere all at once. And I think you need to go deep before you go wide.
Percent. So if somebody's watching this show, and if they wanted to work with you or reach out to you, do you mind sharing your website or social, just best ways to get in contact?
Oh yeah, totally. ARKA Packaging, ARKA Packaging on all our socials. If you have any questions, it's support@arka.com. And our website is arka.com. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to work with you, see what you're building, see what you're focusing on. Look, we're here to listen. Bring us your dreams. We'll make them come true.
Thanks so much for your time today.
Dude, thank you for putting this together. I'm glad we're both local boys, and I hope to see you at the next event.